And we're recording. Alright, so to Mudgee.
Good morning everyone, this is Dan and Stefan and we are off on a trip to Mudgee. The time is, what's that, 12 minutes to 11?
A little bit late.
Yes, we originally planned to leave at 10:30, we're running about 70 minutes behind schedule. And I'm dyslexic, so my mathematics is atrocious, so don't post sin videos about it.
Roundabouts.
Yes, we're at one of Dubbo's numerous roundabouts waiting for permission to proceed.
About 25 years ago, Macquarie Street was a two-lane road with parking almost right up to the shop front. And the council brought out this plan to beautify it by, traffic up the middle, traffic island up the middle, trees, wide footpaths. Everyone goes, oh, it's horrible, it'll never work, it's terrible. Looks great.
It looks like it worked. I love the little street lamps.
Yeah.
I noticed one back.
They're actually sodium vapour lamps, but they look Victorian.
What sodium vapour lamps? I've never heard that.
It's the orange glowy ones.
Orange glowy ones. Okay. I noticed one of them back there had been vandalised, which is a pity.
Because Dubbo.
Because Dubbo, yes. Anyway, a little itinerary for our journey. We are heading to the brewery at Mudgee. What's its name?
The Mudgee Brewing Company.
Okay, fair enough. And apparently they have a good restaurant there where my extremely delicate digestive system will be able to find something tasty to eat.
And beer.
Well, that's for Dan. I'm a non-drinker.
I'm a drinker.
I didn't know Newcastle Permanent had a branch in Dubbo.
Oh yeah. I mean, Dubbo's a big town now.
Dubbo's a city.
It's
undeniably a city.
It's large enough now to not need to live on the rural areas around it. It doesn't have to have one.
No, it's just that I haven't seen Newcastle Permanent since I left Newcastle. I didn't realise they had a branch here. And if the Greater Building Society ever becomes, the Greater Bank now, if they ever decide to publicly list on the stock market, I will be going back to the Newcastle Permanent. Having a dyslexic moment for a minute there. On our right is the bridge with a dip in it that was designed by Dips.
You idiot. It was poor engineering.
And we don't like poor engineering, do we?
We do not. It's usually poor engineering kills people.
Oh heck.
In this case, it made the bridge sink a little.
Has it killed anyone yet?
Nope.
Hopefully that won't happen.
People have died on that bridge, but not because of the
Not
bridge.
because of the dip, right. Has anyone besides Hoons died on the bridge?
Yeah, there was a case a few years ago. Kid decided to jump off.
Oh.
It's about 10 metres to the water and the river's shallow.
So he hit the water and kept on going?
Yeah, he hit the water, hit the bottom. Unfortunate and sad.
Very unfortunate.
And sad, but he's an idiot. Still.
What, is he still alive?
No.
Oh.
Nothing will change the fact
That he was an idiot.
that he was an idiot.
Was he just trying to go for a swim, or was he...
Yeah, it was just fun.
Oh dear.
Kids have jumped off there before, but the river's usually much higher, so
Right.
when it's shallow, it's not safe. Never safe.
There was an incident that happened, might have been back in the 80s or early 90s, and I wish I could get information on it. Some half-wet was staying with friends who had waterfront property. Early in the morning, before anyone else was awake, he got up, climbed the fence in the back of his place, jumped off it into the water, which was too shallow, and broke his spine, so he's paralysed from the waist down for the rest of his life. Promptly took his friends to court, sued them saying that the fence served as an invitation to jump into the water.
Right.
Make no sense at all, but the judge in the initial trial found in his favour. Don't ask me why. But his friends appealed the verdict, and the second judge saw very much in their favour and said, in no way can a fence serve as an invitation to jump into the water, and householders cannot be expected to take precautions against all forms of outrageous behaviour.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with that.
Oh, the first judge must have been...
Yeah. As a health and safety officer, a fence does not invite climbing. It invites keep out. I used to have to do that a lot when I was working in the health and safety industry. You know, why are you on top of that fence? It's a fence. It's there for a reason. Anyway.
Stop committing an offence and get off the fence.
Oh, shut up. What have we got here? Flashing lights?
I think it's just a council.
Yep.
I don't think it's doing anything at the moment. Not even anyone in it.
Up mower. He's mowering.
Mowering. Just passing over a deceased railway.
Yeah, he used to run to Molong via Yeovil and Cumnock. We'll have to go that way on our trip to Orange.
Go through Molong.
No, the other way, Yeovil and Cumnock. You end up at Molong, but it's very rural, feels remote. There's areas where you think, are we ever going to see civilization again?
Is any part of Australia that's civilised? I miss Canada. I really want to go back there one day. It's all about money.
You want to beat me, don't you? Yeah, go on. houses for sale that are not getting sold. There's new houses for sale which are being bought.
Is there any stigma on the area where the existing houses are?
No, I think the people selling them just want too much money.
Oh yeah, that'd be it.
They bought the house. They bought the house about 5 years ago or so, and paid $450,000, and it's not worth that now because the market's just in the process of bottoming.
That makes sense.
And yet, a freshly built new house is
Yes.
cheaper.
In other words, they've created a glut.
Yes, they have.
Dubbo does have traffic lights.
Yeah. We have traffic jams too.
Oh, I don't doubt that for 1 minute.
But then the lights go green and the traffic jam stops.
Goodbye, white Lexus. Is that a business estate in there?
It is.
Yeah.
And that's where the new brewery's going in. There's a craft brewery. That's it there.
I see it. Devil's Elbow.
Should apply for a job. What if they want a broken workplace health and safety plan?
Or just a beer taster. Oh, this thing's got some get up and go. What's the 0 to 60 time of this?
Oh, it's I don't know, 6 seconds or so.
That's pretty good.
Never tried it.
Oh, give it a go one of these days just to have a look.
Nah. Maybe one day.
Camera didn't turn off, did it?
No, I was just checking to see it's still recording.
And we are now cruising down alongside the railway. What time is it? No, we've got well over an hour before the train comes through. How frequently do freighters come through?
Oh, daily.
Sign back there saying, wear the belt, not the consequences. Amen. Mine's secure.
Yeah, 3 times a week, the abattoir sends a giant load of frozen meat containers out. Ship all over the country, all over the world.
So we're exporting bits of animal, but not washing machines or lawn mowers. Or
Oh no, none of the stuff that requires assembly,
yes.
manufacture. We used to.
We used to, yeah. Wish we still did.
There's a massive factory at Orange once. Email. Used to make everything, white goods.
If they were there, I'd be buying one now, although I don't know how I'd get it home. I need a new washing machine at the moment. Well, that's assuming that my existing one can't be fixed, but the odds are probably against it.
Depends what's wrong. And how old it is.
It's at least 30 years old.
It might be fixable, surprisingly.
Probably because, given that it's older and it doesn't require complicated electronics, you might be right.
It's all mechanical operation. The Mum had one that broke, and it was 5 years old and not fixable because the part broke was one of the electronics components, and they didn't make them anymore.
So it's not merely a case of getting 20 green chips and 1 red chip and putting it together.
It's not Factorio.
No.
Smash them together, green chips, bing.
Factorio's a great game. Oh, good time. We've got an overtaking lane coming up.
Yep. Is this sports mode?
And we're off. Bye. What does sport mode do?
It turns all the economy restrictors off.
Right.
And boosts the output of the electric motors.
Well, it's a good day for it. Plenty of blue sky up there.
Yeah. Nice day for it.
I do hope though that the western regions get some rain because it's badly needed.
Burrendon Dam is at 6% capacity.
It's desperately needed.
And they're talking about Dubbo going to level 2 water restrictions.
And that involves what?
No fixed hoses, no underground water sprinklers.
Times like this, I don't know why they don't bring water in on the railway. It's perfectly feasible.
They're having to do that for towns out west, especially along the Darling River, where the river's basically dead.
That's what you call poor water management.
Yeah. I mean, the massive floods from Queensland, central Queensland, where they should have been flowing down into the Darling, never made it. They went into the cotton farms.
Any idea if we get decent cotton from those farms?
Oh yeah, it's excellent cotton. But cotton's a really bad crop to grow in
Oh, I
Australia.
know. That's what I was thinking. It's a very thirsty crop.
It's very thirsty, and you can't grow without massive fertiliser
Yeah, because Australian soils are very poor.
and massive amounts of pesticides. And after you grow cotton, the only crop that soil is good for is cotton. Nothing else will grow. It kills the soil.
Yeah. So you can't use crop rotation on it.
No crop rotation won't work.
River Road. How do you pronounce that? Wongarbon?
On Garmin, yeah.
Wongarbon. I love native Australian names. Woolloomooloo's my favourite. Is there anywhere else in the world that the same vowel is used 8 times? Overtaking a motorbike. flag holding a sign that says stop.
Wonder what he's protesting against. What do we say? What's he stopping? You see them around schools, these protesters. You know, they step out in the middle of the road with their big signs that say stop children crossing.
Stop the Liberal Party.
Which way? Got his one finger waved down perfect. And it's a 40 zone.
Benefit of listeners without access to the GPS, we're now driving through what looks like a well-developed area on the GPS map, but in fact none of those streets exist. Welcome to Geary, I know.
Fruit.
Where?
In this van up ahead.
All together, let it go. Eat more fruit. Solar panels on the coffee shop.
Enough to power it.
More than enough to power it. Yeah, that could power 2 buildings that size.
that's why I killed him, Your Honour. And be a valid defence. Where the main line loops away here, it goes around the back of a hill, and that's where the Sandy Hollow to Maryvale line would have connected.
Interesting.
You can see it on Google Earth. There's a big triangular junction. All the earthworks are there. The tracks were never laid.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that railways in New South Wales had infrastructure built without tracks. Look at St James Station.
Yeah, that line was started during the 30s. It was effectively a work for the dole scheme during the Depression. The blokes worked on it and got paid, and it was make work. It was just to give people a job. And it was all done by hand.
Oh my goodness.
All 100%. The only machines were the ones that brought concrete in for bridges and such.
No wonder it took such a long time.
Well, yeah.
I see sheep everywhere.
Yep. Quite a big wool production area, this area. Feeds into the national grid. You almost have the road we're going to be taking runs around the bottom of that big hill. That's Mount Benendra.
Semi-trailer coming past.
No, that's only a small one.
Actually, it was only a small one. It looked bigger from a distance.
If you want to see a proper big road train, look up Mount Cannington Mine in Queensland.
Let's see if I've got a signal out here.
Oh yeah, you will have a signal. We're not savages out this way.
No, but Telstra's not. There are places where I live that I can't get decent signal, including...
You can forget Optusnet and Vodafone out here. They're useless.
No, I'm on Telstra, but...
Yeah, Telstra should have a good signal.
Even in my apartment, I've got a really poor signal. Okay, what was it? Mount
Cannington Mine.
How do you spell that?
CANNINGTON. Mount Cannington Road Train.
Here we go. Near Mount Isa, is it?
Yeah.
That's a massive...
It's a road train.
Yeah, but the vehicle pulling it, that's huge.
Oh yeah, nearly 1,000 horsepower. When you get behind one of them on the highway, you just get pulled back, a few car lengths, and just sit there because there's no way in the world to get round it.
Not without aerial assistance, no. Top Gear mob when they were here in Australia, they had a helicopter to guide them past an incredibly long road train.
rail got their act together, you'd have a passenger service up and down this line.
Oh, heck yeah.
3-car diesel, 2-car diesel. That's all.
I think it probably would be a 3-car diesel because just about every time I've caught the train, the XPT's been packed.
Yes. If it left Dubbo early in the morning,
That's right. The big problem is that it's designed for Sydney people to get to Dubbo, but what about Dubbo people who want to go into Sydney?
Exactly. We don't need an XPT to go the other direction. Now, I'm going to bypass Wellington here. I'm briefly taking the road to Dunedoo. Very briefly.
So we're bypassing Antarctica.
Indeed.
Clear left, clear right. Scratches in the road surface. I think somebody was driving through here with farm machinery, Greg.
Yeah. And the tines down a little low.
On the right, brown.
Yes.
Actually a reddish brown. A little bit of green on the left. A peppercorn tree? Ooh,
yep.
Big ones.
People in Europe say, what's Australia like? You go, brown. It's brown, and then some of the big brown comes down from the north. Turns everything brown.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, if you hit that at any speed over about 80, you will lift off the ground, and it's scary, and I don't like it.
It was scary. Back near where I used to live at Gosford, actually very similar to what we're just passing over now, there was a slight rise in the road. I hated it. My brother loved it. He got to learn exactly the right speed to generate that momentary feeling of weightlessness. And one time we were on our way back from a road trip and I completely forgot about this damn hump. And I was just chatting along merrily like I am now. And then suddenly I realised why he was driving fairly quickly and holding that speed exactly. And I started saying, no, don't you?
Yeah.
And at that moment I went weightless.
That complex you see on over there, that's the one of Her Majesty's guest houses.
Oh, right. Where the visitors are held at Her Majesty's pleasure.
Yeah. Yes. Must be going to visit a relative.
I was talking to somebody on the way. Nice big substation or something on the right. Now it's on our right.
Yep.
Sure it's not a cardboard replica?
It's only a model.
Eddie, we're going to leave behind a cardboard replica
export industry.
No, it shouldn't be. I wonder which one Manhattan and Morris would have ended up with if he'd lived. Dead kangaroo on the left.
Gonna see a lot of them.
Hopefully not. I heard that it's so dry out here that they're just not coming out. Dead bit of car on the side of the road too. Plastic and glass bottles.
It's cleaned up a lot. This whole, back in the days when it was okay to throw your rubbish out of the car, this whole stretch was just glass bottles all over the place.
Oh my goodness.
Tin cans. It's just. And then the Don't Rubbish Australia campaign started. People actually cleaned up.
Good.
But there's still tossers that think nothing is throwing junk
Oh, of course.
on the road. It's just.
Until the day comes that there's technology to match the litter with the perpetrator, they're not going to be able to stop tossers.
Nope.
At least decent citizens of this country won't do it. I see a wind farm.
Yeah.
I saw a flag sitting on one of those roadside posts back there. You've heard the joke about the post turtle.
The what? Oh, yeah.
Every so often you see a turtle on top of a post. And it's a bit like a politician. He didn't get up there by himself. He can't do anything while he's there. He looks jolly stupid sitting there, and you have to wonder who the dopey buggers were that put him there in the first place.
Yep. That Madengra that's being pointed to our left there, that used to be a gold mining town. Then it's a ghost town now, basically. There's half a dozen houses left and lots of holes in the ground.
So not a lot of gold.
Oh, it was once. There was actually enough gold for a company to come back many, many years later and do the cyanide leaching process through the tailings, which earned a lot more gold, but created a giant pond of lethal waste.
Oh, great. Hope it doesn't kill off any wildlife. Look at this damn truck tailgating that car.
Yeah, it's not safe.
No.
And that car is a P-plater, which means you can't go any faster than what he's going.
More sheep.
And there's the wind farm. Now, I do find it encouraging people are putting up renewable energy sites like that,
I'm very glad of that.
despite the federal government.
Yes, well said, despite the federal government. I'll miss the old coal-fired power stations. I had a soft spot for them, but ultimately, the climate change necessitates the move to renewable energy.
I won't really miss them.
Oh, I liked Wallerawang and Liddell.
Yeah, Valerian was built, it was too old, it was far too inefficient.
I just thought it majority of long distance transmission of electricity is in alternating current.
Yeah.
And I always believed that was because alternating current travels more easily, but that turned out to be wrong.
DC current has
DC current apparently...
transmission losses.
Well, apparently DC current does not emit electromagnetic radiation, whereas alternating current does. The difference is that the transformers for DC current are more expensive to build in comparison to alternating current transformers. There are some parts in the world where they have very long distance transmission. There's places in Canada and in Norway possibly.
New Zealand's got one.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, all the power in the hydropower generated in the South Island is transmitted to the North Island through a DC current line. You have one massive cable and then two earth stations at each end. So the return current goes through the ground.
Yeah.
Worrying because if you got water going through there, you'd have hydrogen, oxygen being produced. Or if it's going through salt water, you would have chlorine being produced.
Right.
Not only is it exploding, it's highly toxic. This used to be my school run. When I went to high school in Wellington, this is where the bus used to drive. It took me up this way.
How far?
About 40 kilometres.
Okay, it's not too bad.
Yeah, but this is back in the 70s and this road didn't look like this.
Oh dear, right.
You know the road that bypass road with the hub?
Yes.
That's what this road used to look like.
Oh golly.
There was room for cars to pass and that's about it.
In the 70s it would have been one of those old Leyland buses.
I think it was a Bedford.
Even worse. Did it have the mechanical indicator signal?
No.
Oh, we had them in Newcastle. The land out here isn't good for growing anything but rocks.
There's good sheep country out here.
Don't see any sheep. Saw a road sign there. It had a large bovine chasing a small sheep.
Yeah, that's stop on the road warning.
So I was thinking maybe it's a warning to sheep that cows like to chase them.
At Mount Surprise in Queensland, there's a road sign that basically warning you that there's cattle on the road, and it shows a car crashing into a cow. But the way it's drawn, it looks like the cow is eating a car. don't have traffic sense in their genes.
They have no road sense.
The kangaroos have, when they get in the headlights, they become
immobilised.
But if you blow your horn, they know which way to run. They run away from the noise.
Well, hopefully drivers are sensible enough to blow their horn.
Yeah, and hopefully coming through this area at night, you sit on about 80 rather than 100, because it's just not safe.
I was driving at night time through a place like this. I'm doing 60. Another one. How do they end up off the side of the road?
Don't know. Quite often they don't die immediately, even if no matter how hard they've been hit. There's a few minutes they try to escape, but they're too injured. They just die. There's very few are actually killed instantly outright. It's a horrible way to go.
It's funny you should say that. That was the basis for an episode of The Bill. A pedestrian was found dead on a little back street road, and a rather dotty lady came forward as a witness and described the black car that had hit him. And when they got to the end of the episode, they discovered that particular car had not hit him at all. He'd actually suffered the impact of the car on a completely different street, and had staggered for a couple of blocks before collapsing on a completely different road. Another one. So I guess it's like that for the poor kangaroos.
Yeah.
Floods that wreak so much havoc on that state, and we can't capture that water and bring it south where it's desperately needed. There's more of that leafy crop.
It is.
Something dead on the road in front of us. What's this?
Yeah. No intention of running over it.
No.
Have to break the law here.
Two small wallabies. What's
This is the town of Spices Creek. Consists of 2 houses. Mum and Dad used to live in that house there.
Ah. So that's where you caught the bus from?
Yep. They moved there after they sold the farm. This is the Sandy Hollow railway line.
So is this the section that was built but never had tracks?
Yep.
Shame, so it's in good nick.
That was a bridge that was never bridged.
Game that I'm playing at the moment, I am that close to building a railway. So looking forward to it. laser turrets to be able to defend the outpost.
Yeah, I mean, they can fire up the new version. That road there, Rockdale, you go about 5 kilometres, you come to the farm we used to live on.
That's the one where you'd lie down in the paddock and the cows.
Yeah, that was it.
The cows would come nosing around, wondering if you were an injured calf.
It was 5 kilometres from the tar road in all directions.
What did you principally grow there?
It wasn't big enough to actually grow much. Dad had pigs, he had some sheep, milking cow.
It's been well over 30 years since I milked a cow. I'd like to try it again someday.
Yeah, I was raised on raw milk, unpasteurised, full cream, beautiful.
If it comes straight from a cow and if it hasn't had time to get any infections, it'd be fairly safe, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
There's the railroad.
That's the railway. Now that arcs off to our right. You notice how it's doing a steep turn. It does a long sweeping turn to the left, and it goes through a tunnel. It's the most westerly tunnel in Australia.
So they built the tunnel and they never built the track. Oh, that's bad.
I've been there a few times. It was used as a mushroom farm for a long while.
As was the tracks on the city circle. It's a good idea.
Yeah. But it was killed by when road transport became good. It was killed off. But if you go in there, all the old ammunition boxes full of the growing matrix are still there.
That I would like to see.
It's all private land now. You can't get to it.
Oh, what a shame.
Well, you can, but with permission.
So if they ever wanted to complete that railway, they'd have to buy the land back.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me that the world's oil reserves are beginning to ebb away.
Oh yeah, they're finding new oil fields at a slower rate than they are consuming the existing oil fields.
I thought that would be the case. So electric vehicles going to be the way to go.
Yeah.
And are electric vehicles more expensive to make than petrol-driven vehicles?
At the moment, yeah.
They are, right. We may see things start to go backwards. We may see fewer people own electric vehicles, fewer people own cars.
But we're in the early years of electric vehicles. You think back to the 1910s, only the ultra rich had a car.
Yes, that's right.
There was no such thing as service stations. You bought your motor spirit from a grocery store.
And I remember parts would be available at certain news agencies.
Yeah. If you wanted repairs, you took it to the blacksmith. There's the rail line again.
Yeah, I noticed that.
As we drive down here, if you look up to the hills to your left, you will see a bare patch which used to be a copper mine.
How far ahead?
Down here a bit. Was it back there a bit? It's been a long time since I've been along here. That must have been back there.
Because what I was thinking is if electric cars are more expensive to manufacture, we may see a decline in the automobile industry and a return to railways. There aren't any electric trucks, are there? Any electric semi-trailers?
Not for sale. A lot of experimental ones, concepts are out there, but there's no actual trucks yet.
Because that'll be interesting. It'll quite possibly shift a lot of freight back to the railways.
If I buy buy an electric car, it will have to have a range of about 600 kilometres.
Oh yes, definitely. Because you like to travel.
A range less than that will limit where I can drive, because
Yes.
from Dubbo to Sydney's not a problem. But to get from Dubbo to Newcastle, I would have to go via Sydney to charge.
Do you often go to Newcastle?
Well, if you're heading anywhere towards the coast, we always go this road.
Right. Well, they're putting more charging stations in, so they'll gradually get easier.
Well, charging stations in Dubbo now, so
I'm sure Tesla would have a charging station in Newcastle.
oh yeah, Heatherbrae, right on the highway.
78 to Dubbo.
That's the alternate route to Dubbo. It's 4 kilometres shorter and 10 minutes longer.
How does that happen?
The roads are bad.
Right. These signs are poking fun of how old I'm going to be this year.
Okay. Don't worry about it. This is Goulmer.
What you doing?
Something's rattling. It's annoying me. Yeah, it's one of those
Yeah, same there.
plates. Then we have the tennis courts, the pub. Spent many hours in that pub, waiting for Dad. I'll just go in there. I'll only be in a minute.
Oh,
Got to see a man about a dog. Never got a dog.
you've never had a dog?
Oh, we've had dogs, but never got one from the pub.
Right.
Even though he went to see a man about it.
You said the advertisement about the bloke who's walking this tiny little toy dog and wants to go to the pub and the sign says no dogs. So he puts on a pair of black sunglasses and pretends to be blind.
Yeah, that's right. The dog's a little foxy or something, fox terrier or something.
Barb says, come off. And guide dogs are German Shepherds or what's the other one? Or Labradors. What have they given me? Why haven't they turned that into a cycle path?
I don't know. It's there.
It's exactly, yeah. Castle. It's a real pity because that could have been turned into a very efficient light railway.
Yeah.
Was that a Microsoft truck? It was carrying Windows. Dead trees. Get about 22 lumps of raw wood, turn them into processed wood, and then create telegraph poles.
Yes. Or resin if you're using Bob's mod.
Oh, I want to use Bob's mod.
And across the Cudgegong River.
Is this a golf course on our left? It certainly looks like it.
No, that's a crop. A well-watered crop. Trees.
You wouldn't have that problem.
You wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah.
So they knock the trees down, so the animals would be out in the middle of the summer sun with no shade. I can't understand why they drink so much water.
Do livestock suffer from skin cancer?
I don't think so.
What their secret is? Get lost.
No, love that sound.
No, I just meant the fact that he's going so... What are we doing? We're doing 100.
We're doing the speed limit.
Yeah, he would have to be doing at least 120.
Oh, yeah. Not like there's police along this road ever.
No, that's right. so much green, but it's getting very...
less brown.
Well, no, I was going to say there's plenty of trees here, plenty.
Yeah, this has always been like this. Trees through here. When I worked in Mudgee, just on this corner is where a very large kangaroo ran into the front of my Holden Gemini and nearly broke the car off. It was so much damage, I couldn't believe how much damage it did. I wasn't going 100, to about 80, and it just wrecked the car.
Very large kangaroos, so a large male eastern grey?
Yeah. Yeah, he stood about 6 foot high. He stood higher than the car did.
Oh yeah. No, they're male eastern greys, they can be big.
Yeah. Not as big as the reds, but
no,
still big.
Reds are huge. No, the wildlife sanctuary is always scared to go near the adult animals. There's one.
Driving back from Cobar one night, and there I could see in the headlights of the car coming towards me a kangaroo sitting on the road. It was a red, and he was bigger than this car.
Yeah.
And he didn't get out of the way. He stood there, and he actually saw this car as less of a threat. He just stood there and shaped up. And I had to wait for him to decide to move. I wasn't going to get out and shift him.
What car were you driving at the time?
This one, the Lexus.
Oh, the Lexus. Right, good.
There's no way in the world I would have come off second.
In a stationary position, what would he have done? His claws would have damaged the paintwork.
Yeah, that's about it. Scratches and a few dents. There's no way in the world I was going to do it. So, I blew the horn a few times and he finally moved. No way in the world I was going to do anything
to provoke him. So how frequently do you get reds around here?
No. Dubbo's is sort of the demarcation point. You get the eastern greys, and then a little bit to the west you get the reds. You also get the western greys around Dubbo.
Western greys?
Yeah. It's a very, what would you call it? It's at the boundary of a number of different
It's the
ranges,
converging point.
Because there's a lot of wallaroos.
It's basically you've got the trifecta, you've got the whole lot.
Yeah. And swamp wallabies and redneck wallabies and yellowtail wallabies. Yeah, we've got the whole.
Yellowtail I'm not familiar with. Swamps and reds I've seen up close.
Well, swampy is another one I would never tackle. If they only stand a metre high, there's no way in the world I'd try to.
Swamp wallaby?
Yeah.
I thought that was small.
The males stand. When he's.
Are you talking about swamp wallabies or red wallabies?
Swamps.
Because reds are big.
No, hang on. Redneck wallabies.
That's what I thought, yes, because reds are big. Yeah. Swamp wallabies.
Even so, I wouldn't want to tackle a male swamp wallaby.
No, me either. Pretty face wallabies can be aggressive as well, despite the name. But the swamp wallabies, they're only small.
Yeah. Down to one. My convict ancestor was a shepherd there after he did his 7 years in Sydney. On this farm.
I've got a convict ancestor, but I don't know much about him.
A lot of families were ashamed of their convict ancestors and didn't about?
It depends. I mean, very few of them would have been murderers. They'll probably deported for stealing bread.
My ancestor was deported for poaching rabbits on the local manor house.
There you go.
But I think that was more the last straw. He wasn't. He was a criminal. You know, he wasn't feeding a starving family. He was just
thieving.
Sort of always lived on the edge, that fine line between legal and illegal.
Well, Francis Greenway, one of Australia's early architects, he was deported for fraud.
Yeah.
Because he ran into financial difficulty.
Most of my ancestors were free settlers, and there's only one convict there.
Road surface makes an annoying sound.
Yeah, it's very rough. Making that noise.
I can't hear it over the road surface. That's better.
Yeah.
We seem to be driving in, because I'm keeping an eye on where the sun is, we seem to be driving in all sorts of directions.
Yeah. Now, if we turn right at that intersection, that's a bit of a shortcut to Mudgee. We're heading to Goldgong, so there's a bit of a loop. Very old gold mining town. Goldgong was on the original $10 note. When you see the original $10 note, all the buildings that you see on there, on the Henry Lawson side, they're all still existing here in Goldgong.
I don't know if I have any $10 notes at home.
They'd have to be the pre-polymer.
Oh yeah. No, actually, I probably do have some deal. When they converted to polymer, I saved $2 notes, 5s. Must have some 10s and 20s.
Yeah.
I don't think I managed to get any 50s though. And Stephen Stewart sold me a $100 note, so I've got that.
I think Pete's got some 1s and 2s.
I don't have any.
Away.
I don't have any 1s. I like the $1 note.
So I think it was on my first trip to England. I went away, come back, and I got changed and had all these weird gold coins in there. And what are these? $1 coins. When did they start?
How long were you over in England for?
About 4 weeks.
So you just happened to be there when...
Yeah, it happened just after I left. They changed over, so that a lot of the $1 notes were out of circulation.
Interesting. I love the skit rubbery figures did to poke fun of the $2 coin. Bob, the puppet of Bob Hawke is there looking through a microscope. Paul Keating comes up. Oh, Bob, have you seen the new $2 coin? Yeah, I'm just admiring it now, Paul, but tell me something. Why is it so small? Because our billionaire mates wanted to reduce the size of their money bins. Paul, I've told you never to make jokes like that. Anyway, you've got a mistake here. There's a head on both sides. No, Bob. I'll show you how it works. Is this one yours? Flips the coin in the air. Black or white, Bob? White. And it leans with the tail side up. Sorry, Bob. The treasury never loses. And he pockets the coin.
Rubbery figures was...
Rubbery figures was brilliant. I missed that. it was entertaining and it was very informative. You could learn a lot about current politics by watching it. They really need a show like that now. They could do it with CGI. Why has no one done that? I wonder if it could be done with Team Fortress's filmmaker.
Probably could.
Yeah.
Now we're coming up into the old part of town.
These places all look the same to me.
So a lot of these old buildings predate their late 1800s.
I like that church, Henry Lawson Centre.
And the main street is built this way because this is where the bullock carts used to move, and they built the original tent city where the bullock carts didn't go. Right, this is going to be interesting. You should give way to me. Fantastic museum down to our left. Pioneer Museum it's called. It really goes into the history of this area. No one coming? No.
I'd imagine if this city was ever, if this town was ever urbanised, they'd have to do these.
Now, that's the Prince of Wales Hotel, and in behind it is a concert hall, believe it or not, that Dame Nellie Melba used to sing in.
Who?
Dame Nellie Melba.
Don't know who that is.
Australia's greatest opera singer from the 1800s. Road closed, can't go that way.
A bit before my time, I'm afraid.
Gonna have to do a loop and go back. The road I wanted to go on's closed.
Queen Street was where my grandparents lived at Taree. Commercial roller flour mills.
Yep.
They wouldn't make any flour these days, would they?
No. So that's the back of the Pioneer Museum. Have to go down the main street.
It looks like it caught him by surprise too.
Yeah.
Horse trough.
Yep.
Well, you can lead a horse to water and you can photograph her there.
Yes, you can take a horse to water, but a pencil must be lead.
Oh, I haven't heard that one. That's not bad.
Look at the raw sign up there.
Oh yeah, it's
the old
beautiful.
pub. Ex-pub.
What, it's no longer a pub?
No, a lot of licences were lost.
Oh, that's right. The practice you described me of moving the licence to Sydney.
Someone would buy an old pub in the country for next to nothing and move the licence to Sydney because it was cheaper. Oh, you're kidding me.
What the hell?
Oh, at least we've got a detour this time. The other road was just blocked.
What are these roads blocked off for anyway?
No idea. Magical mystery tour around Goldgong won't hurt.
What time do they serve lunch at Mudgee?
From 12 to 3.
Oh, cool. Okay, got plenty of time.
So we're still going to have heaps of time for lunch.
I just hope they still have heaps of food. Now there's a big road train.
That's a big double. That's a B double, not a road train.
How are they defined?
A B double is where the trailer connects directly to the trailer in front.
Right.
Whereas a road train uses what they call a dolly, which is a set of bogies on a tow bar that the trailer sits on. The advantage of a road train is that you can hook multiple dollies onto it.
Still nice and cold.
I'll have one of them if you go.
Yeah, you want this one?
Yeah. Open it for me.
Trying. There you go. I'll put the lid just here. Damn. Just use the gorilla to put these on.
complaint I heard about the Tesla. The cup holders are about where your elbow is.
Yeah, not a good idea. Whoa. Not quite as scary as that railway track in steam speed, but funny enough. Oh, that was a brilliant video. I loved it. It's getting likes on Facebook, disappointingly. But it is a great video. They should make a TV series out of it. Been for 1 hour and nearly 25 minutes. somewhere there was shade, and the shade has moved. So you've got, to pick up and get a photograph, there's unoccupied shade on one side and cows sitting out in the sun. They're not the brightest animal. Earlier in our journey, there was a sign off to the left saying Dubbo. Now there's a sign off to the right.
Oh yeah, all roads lead from Dubbo. Dubbo's a great place to come from.
Is this a garbage truck? It's two.
Yep. Probably heading up to Golgong. You'll notice the autumn trees are changed.
Yes. What's the outside temperature?
23.
Oh, it's warm.
Nice and mild.
Nah. The fox blood that runs in my veins prefers a much lower temperature.
Gone through a summer of 45-degree temperatures, so 23 is very, very nice.
Oh, yes. No, those temperatures would kill me. It's 22 in Sydney and raining.
Oh. I'd love that. Love to see some rain.
Oh, hell yeah. It's desperately needed here.
Not just some rain, we need some sustained rain.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be, weeks of inclement weather.
Weeks of continuous rain. What's that ocean current they talk about? El Nino and El Nino?
El Nino.
Yeah. So we're in whatever current causes a dry one at the moment. We need for there to be a wet one.
Yeah, there's El Nino. The other one's La Nina.
La Nina, that's it. One's male and one's female.
Yeah, La Nina brings the rain here.
Another dead room.
And causes California to have a drought.
So when we're having rain, Sleepy John and who's the other one? What's his name? likes motorbikes and guns. What's his name?
Oh, Alan.
Yeah.
Mago.
Yeah. They would, if it was raining heavily here, they would both have a drought.
Yes.
Aliens invade this planet and they say, oh, you've been treating animals this way for millennia. Hopefully I can hold my hand and say, I didn't. Horse stud?
Possibly, a new one.
Yeah. They love those ornate gates and rather solid looking fences. Some parts of the world, horses are considered a dairy animal. I wonder what horse milk would be like. I'm very keen to try that cheese made with deer's milk they have in New Zealand.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one.
Yeah. Sheep's milk apparently is quite tasty.
This little Honey Haven cafe sell jars of multiple types of honey, different types. About 20 different types of honey, and they all taste different. It's brilliant.
I've been to places like that. It's been a long, long time though since I've tried one. Is that the place you went to get the honey that had local pollen?
No. This is the old line to Goldgong, Mudgee to Goldgong.
Is it disused?
It is suspended.
Suspended, right?
Not.
It's suspended, not decommissioned.
Not decommissioned. Yeah, that's it.
No, it could be interesting. I mean, it's a bit of a pipe dream, but if fossil fuels become scarce and if electric cars remain more expensive, we may see a lot fewer automobiles and a lot more electrification of the railways, because the railways will be hit by it as well.
I find it frustrating that Queensland Rail can electrify from Brisbane to Rockhampton and State Rail can't get to Dubbo. You're talking about 3 times the distance. Brisbane to Rockhampton.
Yeah.
Huge.
Well, the line between Newcastle and Maitland, it's a lot of passenger trains running on that, as well as the XPT. That should have been electrified decades ago.
Of course it should.
And the original plan for the XPT was not going to be a diesel train, it was actually going to be a full-on electric train. And then they scaled back, as they always do.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, having an electric line out to Dubbo would be awesome. bring back electric locomotives, which is something I very much miss. All the golden leaves on the side of the road. I think I found what it is. It's this strip of plastic here.
Push it down, make it.
Well,
solid.
it's a piece that's facing towards us. So if I apply pressure there,
Yeah, mostly got the.
I think that's simply because we're going very slowly at the moment. If we start doing 80 on a rough road,
Steam engine.
Wait. Oh, steam traction engine.
Traction engine.
Yeah, I'm not really fussed with those. I love steam locomotives, but
I look at is it moved by boiling water? That's my thing.
I did very much like the steam-powered Spider in Wild Wild West. I know the film was a flop, but yeah, that Spider was awesome. And it makes me wonder just how feasible a machine like that would be.
Totally not. You should watch Kevin Smith talking about his why he refused to write Wild Wild West.
Was Kevin Smith
refused to make?
Was he the original director or author of the TV series?
No.
No.
Does a talk to an audience about being asked to direct Wild Wild West, and
It eventually went to Barry Sonnenfeld.
yes,
It was well directed and very well acted. The cast were well chosen, but it was very poorly written.
Mudgee.
Nice big church spire.
Yep. The old library's now in the old Turner Hall. And there's an Aussie movie called The Nugget. If you've ever watched it, it was filmed here.
I've heard the name. I can't remember a thing about it.
Eric Banner's in it, and a few others. It's quite a good movie. Not bad for a little low budget thing.
When people have got a good idea, and when they know how to direct and how to act, low budget films can be quite good. So some of them turn into sleeper hits.
Yeah, this never turned into a hit. It was quite good. Now, there's the old Regent movie theatre, the old Art Deco. But this,
I do like Art Deco.
this in front of us is our destination.
Mudgee Brewing Company.
That's the one.
Now, for all of those watching, I don't drink, but I'm going in there because I've been
Being
told
forced.
been told on good authority that they have very nice meals in there. Dan's going in there to try the plonk.
No, I'm not, because I have to drive and I can't drink too much. He said, lying.
Well, he's going there to sample some of it. Very,
Yes.
very small samples.
Very small ones. And that's it.